the Wayne Madsen Report, the Sunday Roundup, and we've been talking to Nick Bryant, the author of the Franklin Scandal. But I want to play a few more news clips from the early 80s, because that's when the media first started looking into it. And then, of course, the interest died off rapidly. The next newscast you're going to hear is from it's Roger Mudd, and another report on the House page sex scandal. Keep in mind, these were underage pages, and we saw this come back again in the late 80s with Craig Spence in the White House, and then again just a couple years ago with Mark Foley. So this is a never-ending story. This covers over 30 years now, and nothing is done. As Nick mentioned, the law enforcement people, the judges, they're all part of this thing. So let's play this clip on. It's from Roger Mudd and Lisa Myers, who's now with NBC News. If we can play this clip. Oh, okay.
Top story tonight, illicit sex and possible blackmail. Those are the charges uncovered today by a New York State Senate investigation. Witnesses claim that a gay callboy network using children as young as 12 is selling sex to high officials in the nation's capital, then selling the information to Soviet, Israeli, and British agents. Here's a report.
Is that correct?
Dale Smith, an investigator who's worked for 5 years undercover for New York State's Legislative Committee on Crime, says an accountant for 5 callboy services in the Washington area told him the services make more money trafficking information than selling kiddie prostitution. He says while he was working undercover, he was approached by a KGB agent wanting to buy information on the service's government clients for the purpose of blackmail.
I was not personally debriefed by a foreign intelligence officer. Were you questioned? I have had contacts with foreign intelligence officers.
Detective Smith would not reveal which Washington officials were involved and what kind of blackmail the foreign agents had in mind. Also testifying 2 Washington detectives who helped develop the congressional page sex charges. They claim there is a network of callboy services linked to organized crime and spanning 6 major cities coast to coast.
You could call a phone number in Houston from Washington and have a young boy delivered to your room in Washington, using an American Express card or another business card to charge it.
Dallas is one of the New York gay bars allegedly part of this callboy network.
The calls would be called into the bar. The boys would be waiting at the bar for their pickups.
Not true at all. That's ridiculous.
There's no one as young as 12 or 13 that hangs around at all?
Besides that, they haven't got any money to spend.
No, but they can be sold, is the allegation.
Not at all. No way.
Other alleged boy porno operations uncovered by Detective Smith, Haymarket and a gay bar called Follies, which has a branch in Washington. The committee is turning over its evidence to New York authorities and the Justice Department in Washington. In New York, Christy Fair, Independent Network News.
Also coming, a report.
Well, there you have it. We heard what Nick Bryant said about Craig Spence using his place here to blackmail politicians who were involved in the pedophilia. You heard there Israeli and Russian agents were trying to buy the information to blackmail politicians. This is what was going on. This was all covered up by the FBI and the Justice Department. They never did a darn thing about it, and there's a good reason why. Because when I was talking about this going into the White House, let's not make let's have no pretensions about who it involved. George H.W. Bush was one of those people, and we'll talk more about this before we get into the nuclear issue with Fukushima right after this break.